So it's more than likely Fiorina will compete with the top GOP contenders at the next debate, scheduled for September 16th at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library. The question now is, does Fiorina have what it takes to overcome the Trump factor and garner the Republican nomination? Joining me now from Washington, D.C., the president of the Market Institute, Charlie Sauer. And Charlie, thanks very much for coming on. What do you think Fiorina's chances are right now?
I think that she actually has a chance to win the nomination, especially when you see the support behind Trump. The base seems to want somebody from outside of Washington, D.C. But if we move that even a step further, I think no matter what, she has a chance of being somebody's number two. So if you look at somebody like a Jeb Bush, he's either going to be the nominee or he's not going to be the nominee. He's not going to be anybody's vice presidential pick. But somebody like Carly Fiorina, even if she doesn't become the party's nominee, is a likely vice presidential pick or at least a high cabinet slot. And she is great. She will be great on the campaign trail, and she deserves this position. I've actually hosted an event with her attacking the cronyists in Washington, D.C., including Republicans. And she stands up against them. Everybody loves hearing her. She will be great on the campaign trail for whoever the nominee is, and I would love to see it as her.
You know, there are two different kinds of elections. There's the domestic election, there's the economic and that sort of thing, domestic policies, and there's also foreign policy election. Now, we're looking at 2016. I see it as a combo of both. Well, how do you see it?
I see in the end that everything comes back to domestic economics. We will see foreign policy taking a spotlight, but when it comes back to the end of the day and you step into that voter booth, the thing that most people understand is their pocketbook and the way that their bank account looks. And we see a Barack Obama administration that is making it harder to work. It's harder to hire people. It's harder to create wealth and actually live that American dream. Carly Fiorina has built a company and had a successful career, and she's also proven that she's a leader. I think that this comes back to the end of the day when people step in the voting booth, that they can see that Carly is somebody that can help create jobs and help create a better economy and help take care of our families.
Now, you at the Market Institute keep tabs on small businesses. In your opinion, how have they been hurt or helped by the Obama administration over the last 6.5 years?
Well, I mean, the Obama administration has done almost everything that they can to harm small businesses, but it really isn't just the Obama administration. Even the GOP has been attacking too. Both sides support intellectual property reform, which makes it harder to defend intellectual property. We see Obamacare, which of course says that if you grow a company above 50 employees, that there's an instant cost associated with that in providing more insurance for them. This economy isn't a place where you want to grow a small business, and that's not a country that has great economic growth. So we see Jeb Bush, Carly Fiorina, Scott Walker. We see candidates across the GOP that understand how to create a business and have track records of doing it.
You keep track of the small business, but you also keep track on how it can be done, where we sort of streamline the ability for small businesses to do their business. So one of your favorite things is Bitcoin. Can you tell me how that helps small business in any way?
Well, this is one of the ways, actually, we can look at the Obama administration and see how they haven't been helping small businesses. And that comes down to a policy change that Australia just made. Australia just decided to treat Bitcoin as a currency. That means that any Bitcoin companies over there can avoid their 10% tax. That instantly makes Australia more competitive and more attractive to Bitcoin businesses. So now we're outsourcing Bitcoin businesses to Australia. But Australia is the second company to do this. Before that was the UK, who exempted them from their 20% VAT tax. So now we have the US lagging behind this market and seeing all of our Bitcoin companies moving away when the rest of the world has acknowledged that Bitcoin is the future. And in fact, I think it is. I think that we see something on the magnitude of an internet type of change. coming from Bitcoin. So right now, President Obama has failed to act. The IRS has acted in ways that make Bitcoin entrepreneurship, Bitcoin usage more expensive in the U.S. So I'm glad you pointed it out, but this is another way that the U.S. is lagging behind the rest of the world.
You know, it seems to me people are going towards Uber and they're doing all sorts of things that are online based. It seems kind of funny that we wouldn't embrace this as well. Just throwing it out there.
Well, I mean, Bitcoin is a decentralized form of exchange. You know, you have this blockchain, which every time you add a block to it, the previous block becomes more secure and more safe. And as we see this Internet of Things develop, we see Uber, we see the healthcare of Uber develop, we see more ways to use the internet. The blockchain is really what's going to develop and take over the internet, take over our economy and the way we do things, especially when we see China destabilizing their economy, Greece destabilizing their currency, and the U.S. in more debt than we've seen in a long time. This is a way to also compete with central banks. And because we have the internet and this new blockchain technology, it's decentralized. The governments can't control it. Only the market controls it. And when the market controls something, we end up in a better space.
Yeah, it might be interesting to see how this plays out. Thanks very much.